Greetings! Welcome to our first show in our brand new studio.
Yay!
Ghosts Are Near, our new studio. Welcome, studio audience. How do you like the new place?
I know I'm liking it.
We decked it out just for you. Welcome to our show, Ghosts Are Near, where we explore various aspects of the paranormal and paranormal exploration. I am your host, Keith Johnson. With me is my co-host, Sandra Johnson.
Hello there.
We are also the founders of New England Anomalies Research, and we're very glad to be here. So, N.E.A.R. Nathan, what do you think of our new studio?
It's new.
Yes, it's new, it smells new, it's nice and clean.
And this is a sort of a switch for you, isn't it? I mean, you're usually back there in the control room. Now
Yes.
you're here with us.
Yes.
Quite
I'm normally
happily.
in that booth.
Yes, yes. Nathan is normally our graphics person. He's there typing away and everything, but tonight he's got somebody doing the job for him. Well, when you first came in, you were there typing away, getting everything ready, but now we have you out in the set here. So, welcome, N.E.A.R. Nathan.
Thank you.
Nathan
We've
Mayer.
been meaning to do this for quite a while.
Yes,
Put
we
you
have.
in that hot seat, even for just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Test the waters.
Now, Nathan, you've recently had an adventure of
Yes.
sorts.
Yes.
Yes, you interviewed somebody on our behalf, somebody rather well known in the paranormal realm.
Yes, Richard Felix. He used to be on Most Haunted as the historian.
Yes.
I've heard of him.
Right. And, well, tell us, how did this come about?
Well, I wanted Richard to come down to the old Warwick studio, but
Right.
his schedule was so filled up when he was over here that it was impossible. So I got to interview him at an investigation of the old manse in Concord.
Mm-hmm.
And
What's
that's
the name of the location?
the old manse.
The Old Manse.
It's near the bridge in Concord.
Right, the famous bridge in Concord.
Okay. Can you give us any sort of a very brief history of the...
Well, it's in the video that you're about to see, all the information about the old manse.
We can hear it from the lips of Richard Felix.
Oh, it's my lips. I just interviewed
Okay,
him.
well, we'll let you go to it. Are
Yes.
we ready to watch, or?
Yes, we are ready, anytime. Let's watch the interview with Richard Felix by Nathan Mayer.
An historic manse famous for American literary associations. It is now owned and operated as a nonprofit museum by the trustees of reservations. The house is located on Monument Street in Concord, Massachusetts, and it neighbors the North Bridge over the Concord River, a part of the Minuteman National Historical Park. And I don't think a better place to interview our guest today. He was born and still resides in Derbyshire, England, and came to prominence as the historian on Living TV's successful paranormal program Most Haunted, where from Series 2 to his final episodes of Series 8, he has performed the role of folklorist and historian. In recent years, he has become a celebrity via media in the UK due to his paranormal research projects. And he is one of the most respected paranormal investigators in all of Europe today. So please help me welcome Richard Felix.
Hi,
I'm glad you made it to go so near.
I'm glad I'm here. Loving this.
So, how did you first become interested in paranormal investigation? What was your catalyst?
I've been frightened of ghosts since I was 4 years of age, and I'm still frightened of ghosts now. And so I suppose something that you're frightened of, you have an interest in, I would think, something like that. But really and truly, it all started 17 years ago when I opened a heritage centre in the centre of Derby, England, which was an old Tudor grammar school, where strangely enough the founder of Boston, Massachusetts went to school, would you believe. It had a ghost, and people used to report seeing this young boy upstairs in what was the dormitories of the school. And I was chairman of the Derby Tourism Association, and I thought, right, okay, ghosts, we don't do a ghost walk in Derby, why don't we start? That was 17 years ago. We've taken in excess of 1.5 million people on a ghost walk around Derby. And my interest started with doing ghost walks And the first one I did, I didn't believe in because I thought what I was telling was silly Scooby-Doo type stories.
It's very silly paranormal.
And so I thought I need to go into the history behind ghosts, because for me ghosts and history go together, and it's snowballed. I write books obviously now, DVDs, I've done TV stuff, and electron ghosts, and I just believe that the reality behind ghosts is more fascinating than the Scooby-Doo side of things.
Scooby-Doo. Being a historian, how does your function as an investigator differ from other investigators, or does it?
Yes, it does. So much, because for me there's a grey lady in the room next door isn't enough. And on we go to the next. No, I want to know, who is she? Why is she there? Why is she grey? Why isn't she pink? What happened to her that's caused her to still be here? And also, what can we do for her to help her move on? So I suppose you could call me a ghost detective. I go into depth into the history of the haunting, and try and tie the haunting and the history in with the ghost that's still here. And that for me is so different from the, there's a scary ghost next door, let's all run. Although I may run myself, I'll try and stay. And so I try and use, and the other thing was, as a historian, I try and use the old ways of detecting ghosts. Because for me, the only ghost detector is you or me, and your dog. And that's it. All the other equipment, the scientific equipment, all that can do is prove to you that the temperature really did drop. It's an EMF, they're not ghost detectors. We are.
They're not?
No.
I just wasted my money on one?
I'm sorry. They can add to it and they can try and prove what you're saying, but they can't detect ghosts, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you already answered this question. Do you get afraid anymore on investigation?
Yeah, I'm still frightened.
Can you give us an example?
Oh,
And where?
oh, so many. I mean, one of the best, because on the TV programme, most haunted, the infrequent times I go off alone, because I'm frightened. But I actually ventured out into a place called Aberglas N.E.A.R in Wales, outside. Not a problem, went through the yew tree archway, talking to myself, not as bad as I thought, went down to these cloisters and archway. And I think I saw something in the trees, and that was it, I was gone. I just turned, ran. I wear a long leather coat, you've probably seen on the programme. I tripped over the coat, camera went flying, and I shouted, "It's got me." But it frightened me to death, and I just ran. And that happens often.
What is your feeling about using sensitives on investigations?
I think that sensitives are very important, but I think it's time we stopped using them to try and prove whether they're telling the truth or not. In other words, most programmes should be called "Let's Test the Medium." It's wrong. Use the sensitive to find out things that nobody knows, to rewrite history.
When you go out on investigations, what do you bring?
Me
Just you?
and the dog. Dowsing crystal. Dowsing rods, but old-fashioned dowsing rods. Hazel twigs. The real old-fashioned stuff. Because again, as a historian, that's the stuff I believe in. What's going on in the mind. But remember, I'm not sensitive in any way.
I'm not either. You're not
No,
alone.
not at all. But I still believe that there's room for us, even though we don't sense things.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you think you'll still be investigating? What would you do?
I may be a ghost in 10 years.
You're not that old.
Yeah, I'm that old, yeah. I do see myself moving on a lot in the next 10 years. To wherever, whether anyone will ever prove any of it, I can't tell you. But that's my quest, to try and prove what this is all about. And to try and remove the fear that is associated with ghosts. Because there shouldn't be any. It's just that we don't understand them and so we're frightened of them.
Do you have one central experience that convinced you that history does indeed play a factor in paranormal activity?
Many. Many stories. I mean, a prime example was it was in that big old Tudor house in England where we were doing table tilting and the table starts to move. And having researched the history, I believe that we were talking to the ghost of a lady called Anne, who had committed suicide by starving herself to death. And then I said, Anne, is it you or are you there? And the table really starts to move. And in other words, that knowing the history helped me to talk to her. And basically she believed that because of the crime she'd committed, which of course was self-murder, that she was destined to stay on this earth and to haunt this earth because she was in fear of moving on because of divine retribution and hellfire. And I think we sent her on to wherever all good spirits should go. But not knowing the history, we wouldn't have known anything about what happened to her.
Could you share your most favorite or memorable paranormal experience outside of Most Haunted with us?
Yeah, I saw a ghost at 3:20 on Friday afternoon in broad daylight in Derbyshire, gliding, a grey, hazy figure, the shape of a person, but neither male nor female, but distinctly grey and a haze, gliding down the corridor, past me, while I was talking to a guy on the phone, not thinking of... Because you see, that's when it happens. When you're least thinking of something, when you're almost daydreaming and your mind's more open. And this thing just came down the corridor and frightened me to death. But it didn't do anything. It didn't come for me. It just continued for about 4 seconds and vanished. And for me, I saw a ghost. And when people talk to me about their experiences, I have more of an empathy for them. Because I know what they're saying, because I also have seen one. And it makes such a difference.
Do you have any idea who you think it was?
No. I've just presumed that it was a spirit or soul of a person that was still trapped in Derby jail for whatever reason. Because again, everyone that comes into a prison believes themselves a sinner and believed that they were going to burn in hell, and so have chosen to stay.
What is your current opinion on authenticity of paranormal phenomena? Does it exist?
I can't get my fingers close enough to give you any proof. Look, they're touching. There is no proof. None. And yet, since life started on this planet, or death started, people have talked of the dead returning. No proof at all. No. But what is it? To the believer, no proof is necessary. To the skeptic, no proof is possible.
Good quote. Did you come up with that yourself?
No.
No.
No, I pinched it from somebody else.
Good quote. How did you get started or involved with Most Haunted?
Derby Jail. They came and did a TV programme with me. I stayed with them all night, and then I got a phone call a month later, and they came back to see me and said to me, as the proprietor of the building and a witness to having seen a ghost, they needed a 2-minute interview with me. After 25 minutes, they didn't know how to edit it. Would I like a job? And the rest, folks, is Most Haunted history.
Why did you leave Most Haunted?
I left Most Haunted because I needed to continue my research into ghosts and the paranormal, and I don't believe that programs like Most Haunted are giving people the right impression of what ghosts are. If the door slammed shut, I wanted to go and find out why the door had slammed shut, rather than it being a ghost. It was much more likely that someone left the window open, and I want to tell people that, and so I'm working on my own pilots for TV shows, because I believe that the reality behind ghosts is far more fascinating than the scare factor that people want.
Can you share some of your experiences with that you had in Most Haunted, both paranormal and behind the scenes?
Oh, I mean, I had a ball. I did 122 programs with Most Haunted, and enjoyed every one of them, and went into some amazing places, fascinating places, places that you can't normally get into, that you see the parts of buildings that no one ever sees. And in those programs, I experienced some amazing things that happened both to me and to the crew that I can't explain. I also believe that some of the things that happen can't be a ghost, but some of the things that did happen are totally unexplainable. And I had a ball, especially table tilting in Glasgow, but the table tilting especially. I had experiences where I actually once got the table actually lifting off the floor, all 4 feet off the floor, hovering in the air, and it just blew my mind, because I checked everything to make sure that no one had got transparent rulers up their sleeves, glue on their fingers, magnets in the ceiling, all the things that it wasn't. It was as real as it could be, and it was amazing.
Do you think Most Haunted featured your specialty well? Well, I guess you already answered that. But
It's done me the world of good. It's created an awareness in the paranormal like no other programme ever has. It's created more argument, more discussion, more debate, and more research than any programme has. It's helped my profile beyond words because this is my profession. But it was time for me to move on to greater things.
Any kind of funny anecdotes you can tell us about from the show?
Amazing one in a place in the West Midlands in Derbyshire called the Old Manor House. A haunted toilet, ladies' toilets. And we actually went into Yvette, myself, Derek, cameraman, all went into this toilet, and as we walked in, something started to spit at us. And Yvette screamed, and she screamed, "Something spat at me, something spat!" And we all screamed and we ran, all of us. And I ended up holding hands with Derek, huddled in the corner of the room. Then we realised what it was, that it was one of these machines that spits perfume out when you walk in the room. And I absolutely lost it. And I ended up lying on the floor, screaming with laughter. Because as me standing, holding hands, huddled in the corner of a ladies' toilets with probably the most famous paranormal researcher in the British Isles, who was also frightened, I hasten to add at the time. And it was just too much. And I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed until I nearly choked. We then stopped, and I got up, and I'm going, oh my God, I don't believe it. I backed into a hand dryer, which went whoosh, and we all, and everybody went again. And I just lost it again. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen, but it just adds so much to letting people understand that everything that happens isn't paranormal. But the fear factor was still there. It was unbelievable. I'll never forget it.
So, you were maced with perfume?
Well, Yvette was. It actually splashed her in the face. Yeah. And she just thought someone had spat at her.
What is the name of your book that was recently published, and what's its premise?
The new book is called What is a Ghost? Would you believe in all the years of ghosts and stories and Edgar Allan Poe and everyone else that's written ghost stories, nobody has ever written a book called What is a Ghost? And I'm the first. And basically the whole book is trying to explain to people what a ghost really is, rather than scare factor. Starting by explaining what the word means. G-H-O-S-T. Terror. Something that we're frightened of because we don't understand what it is. And the whole book is about residual recordings, the stone tape theory, energies, spirits and souls and entities that are still here, that are trapped, that don't know they're dead or dare move on. And that's what the book's all about. And it seems to be the first time that anyone's actually tried to explain to people what a ghost is.
I know this next question you go on forever about it, but in a condensed version, what do you think a ghost is? How do you define a spirit, an apparition, or a ghost?
Yeah, right. Well, it's an apparition, which I believe is a recording, held in the fabric of the building, in the stone, the water, the bricks, which is a tragic and traumatic experience that's recorded in the fabric and seen again, hence it's fully clothed. And then the spirit, the soul, or the entity, which is an intelligence which has chosen to stay. A, because it wants to, B, because it doesn't know it's dead, and C, because it's frightened to move on. And in my opinion, it's a clear-cut, two sides to it. The vast majority of what we see is a recording, and a few ghosts that are still here are an intelligence. And that was quite brief for me, wasn't it?
Yes. What's going on in the near future? Any long-term projects you wish to share with us?
Oh, so many. Yes, I mean, I've got 3 pilots on the go at the moment. One called Paranormal Experiment, where we use a criminal in Derby Jail as a trigger object. We lock a murderer in the condemned cell for the night, which was unbelievable. I'm working obviously on Battlefield Ghosts at the moment, which again, plenty of TV companies have gone to a battlefield, but nobody has created a series of Battlefield Ghosts, which you see, I believe that battlefields are the most haunted places on earth. But nobody understands that because nobody lives on them. And so nobody sees them apart from the guy walking his dog and the farmer and the reenactor. And so that's something that I'm going into in depth and actually over here at the moment working on various trailers to put together a small pilot for TV companies. And then the other one, of course, there's another one, the Felix files,
Felix.
with a big X, which will be going into all aspects of the paranormal, from harbingers of death, screaming skulls, poltergeists, you name it. There's a lot going on at the moment.
Did you film some scenes at Gettysburg?
Yes,
That you were recently?
awesome stuff at Gettysburg. Yeah, and some stuff here tonight at Concord as well. And it will all be put together in a pilot, and fingers crossed.
What was your favourite part of Gettysburg?
Favourite part was Little Round Top. Up there on my own, on Little Round Top, dressed as a Union soldier, talking to the soldiers that died from the 20th Maine, when something touched me on the leg 3 times in the same spot, and I lost it. I got up and ran, tripped over, cut my leg open, and was wounded at Gettysburg.
You have to stop wearing those long coats.
Obviously, yeah.
Do you have any advice or words of wisdom to give new investigators that are just starting out?
Have an open mind. Don't be frightened of what's out there, because they're not there to frighten you. And don't rely on scientific equipment. Rely on your own senses and your own mind. And when you come to a place, you need to people the place. You need to sit in the dark, in the quiet, for at least 20 minutes, listen to the building, but let the building listen to you. Let whatever is in the building get used to you, as well as you getting used to what's happening in the building. And forget the Scooby-Doo equipment, because the only ghost detector, as I keep saying, is you. And bring your dog with you.
Do you have any questions, Leslie?
Or just,
What has been your favorite thing here in the New England area?
oh gosh, I mean, I've been here for a fortnight now. I've never enjoyed myself so much in all my life.
Really, he's like a kid in the candy store.
I am, absolutely. The Worthing pub where Edgar Allan Poe wrote The Raven was amazing. Gettysburg, of course, isn't New England, is it? So, but that was good. This tonight in Concord is very special to me. When you think what happened here. In other words, the American nation was born here. And I'm going off later on tonight to sit on the bridge, the North Bridge, alone, and sing a few verses of British Grenadiers. And there's 2 British soldiers buried. I will be bricking it, but I'm prepared to do it.
Where have you been in Concord today?
Concord, literally, I've just been down to Colonial Inn. They've told me the ghost stories. And I've said, right, when I come back to do Battlefield Ghosts, I want room 20 thing for the night.
I'd like to thank Leslie for all the camera work and telling me how long we have. I would like also to thank Ron Kolick from New England Ghost Project for setting up this interview with us, and Richard Felix for taking the time out of his very busy schedule while he's here in the U.S. to be on Ghost Star N.E.A.R. And you, Keith and Sandra, for letting me to have the honor and privilege to do this very special interview today. Any closing words?
Any closing words? Do sleep well and don't have nightmares.
Well, thank you very much, Nathan.
Yes,
Excellent.
thank you.
Well done.
That was an excellent interview.
Yes.
That was
And
an
thank
excellent-
you, Richard Felix. We very much appreciate you being on our show. That was an excellent interview, very informative. I just wish it had gone on longer. Maybe we should do part 2. Have him right here in our studio. What do you say, everybody? Richard Felix in our studio?
Richard, are you out there somewhere? Are you agreeable to
Are
that?
you out there across the channel?
Next time you're in New England.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
And
Look
his
us
son,
up.
yeah, his son does quite a remarkable tour over there too. Just had one of our rangers associated with Slater Mill, Susan Buchanan, was over there, and she took the tour with his son there, and she said it was remarkable. It was excellent. It was great. So the book is What is a Ghost by Richard Felix. And there he is on the back in shadow form. Very eerie. That's what he looks like as a shadow person, you see?
Can I just ask you again? I mean, I know you mentioned it during the interview. Who it was that was doing the taping? I know she asked a couple of questions.
Oh yeah, Leslie Martin. She's a medium, and she is good friends with Ron Kolick from New England Ghost Project.
Oh, okay. And now, were you able to investigate it all while you were at the location?
Yeah, I got to investigate. I was there for the investigation event that went on that night, and I was just trying. I didn't really capture anything, but I was letting people do their medium stuff and their spiritual stuff, and just try to see that point of view of investigating rather than just the technical.
Did you and Richard investigate together?
He did do a what they call, where they put the finger on the glass and it moves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
yes.
glass moved, but
I've seen that on Most Haunted, actually.
yes.
Yes.
They do a lot of that.
Now that house and that room was actually, you mentioned, that's where the Scarlet Letter was written by Nathaniel Hawthorne, right in
Yes.
that room there?
And some of his other famous novels was written.
Excellent.
That's interesting.
Wow, that is wonderful. That is wonderful.
Now, Richard Felix seems to rely a lot on his senses while investigating. Would you say that his investigation techniques differ a lot from what you're used to? What do you think?
Yeah, with our group, we rely on instruments and photographs and
much more
EVPs
instrumentation.
more
Right.
often, but he feels that the number one instrument is yourself. And
I think a lot of people would agree with him there.
yeah,
Yes, right.
the number one instrument is yourself,
Yes.
but to prove it to other people, you need the backup of EVPs and images to prove that a haunting does exist in a particular location. Because you can't say, oh, I felt this person right here. Well, prove it.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and when you do work with somebody who is sensitive, that's fine. It's actually can point you in the right direction, and so you take a picture and nothing comes out. That's the worst that can happen. But that's my stance, and Sandra's too. Instead of, well, that's not proof in itself, but it can possibly point you in the right direction.
The term is coupling.
Yes.
Yeah, I do believe, just like Richard was saying, that sensitive psychics, that sort of thing, they do belong in our field, but we need to also have that concrete evidence to go along with it. They do serve a function, absolutely. And I think we're pretty much out of time.
Yes, we are. But again, well, thank you so much for interviewing Richard Felix for us, Nathan.
Yes, we do appreciate it.
and for
Our
being-
on-the-spot
yes.
reporter.
And for being our first guest in our brand new studio. And again, I'd like to thank you very much, studio audience, for joining us this evening. Give yourself a big hand. Excellent. Okay, well, got a lot of good things coming up for us, and I hope everybody joins us next time in our brand new studio. It even
This
smells
is the
new.
place. It does.
Yes, nice and clean.
Is that what that smell is?
It's new.
It's
the scent
new
is new.
smell.
All right. Okay, well, good night, everybody. God bless. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay safe.
Good night.